Welcome to GoPowerCat.com's PowerChat, sponsored by Blue Mark Energy from the WTC Gig Powered Studios. Well, sometimes you just need a change in life. And if you're Skylar Thompson, fortune smiles at you and you don't have to leave your school. The change happens for you. Chris Klieman, someone who recruited Skylar when he was a quarterback in the Kansas City metro area, arrives at Kansas State, and he already knew that head coach from that recruitment. We covered a lot of ground with Skylar Thompson, so let's get to it. Here's our Power Chat with Kansas State quarterback Skylar Thompson. Welcome to the Power Chat with Skylar Thompson, Kansas State quarterback, junior year. How's your summer going, man?
It's going really good, really good. I would say it's one of my best summers that I've had here in Manhattan. It just with a lot of change in the program. There's been a lot of excitement. Our guys have been really excited for this summer and have seeked the opportunity of picking up where we left off from spring ball and really, buckling down and really trying to make the most of our opportunities this summer and workouts and whatnot. And I've truly have had a lot of time to get to know and hang out with my teammates outside of football on the weekends and stuff like that, which has been awesome. This past weekend, I had the starting O-line back to my house in Kansas City. My dad grilled up a bunch of food. And a lot of food, and we just got to hang out and kind of just get away from football and whatnot, and I've really enjoyed that aspect of the summer. But no, I would say it's been a really successful summer for myself and for our football team. We're really excited. We're to that point in the summer right now where it's time we're ready to go strap up the pads and go to fall camp and get ready for the season. So we've had a really good summer. I'm really excited to see the work we put in the summer pay off in the season this year.
We got a lot of ground to cover, but we're taping this in late July, and you're in camp now, so we won't get into a lot of football with this. We'll get into some later in the second portion of the interview, but let's stick with the summer. This summertime for a team, you're away from your coaches, but not. They can't. They're limited in what they can do. Coach Dawson, who I'll ask about later, really has you for the summer and conditioning. But in many ways, this is when the team's built, isn't it? In this off season, when you guys got to be self-motivated, get after it, and really get to know each other and bond.
Yes, for sure. And like you said, the coaches aren't around. Coach Klieman, all those guys, they keep in contact with us, but they can't be there at workouts to see how, who's doing what, who's doing well, get on the guys who are not doing well. It's given us a lot of ownership in the program as players and the leaders on the team to really step up and hold people accountable, which I think, like you said, really forms a football team and really gives us that opportunity and chance to do so. And that's what I've really seek this summer as an opportunity to do that. And I feel like more so this year and years past that I've had a lot more command and say in the things we do. And the guys on the team have followed my lead and really have bought into my leadership and other guys on the team leadership. And it's just it's really cool to the summer is really my favorite time of year, just in the fact, like you said, like it's just us. It's just the football team. There's no students really on campus. It's literally Manhattan. It's just athletes and majority of the football team. So it's a pretty cool time of year, and it really just sets the stage for the season and the team we want to be, and we just try to spend as much time together as possible, both in the facility, outside of the facility, and just try to get around guys that you're not your best friends on the team. Freshmen, investing yourself in guys that are walk on, whatever the situation may be. Just making sure you're getting involved with your teammates, getting to know them personally, more so than just the football aspect. And that's what really brings teammates together in our team as a whole. And I think what really separates the good from the great team is whenever you get in the midst of a really tough battle, and the person's next to you, his story and what he's gone through and why he's there. It really just makes you play just that much harder and want to go in for those guys. And I think that's really important and something we've been trying to build on this summer.
Now, people think of Manhattan in the summer, fun times, but your schedule is remarkable. In fact, you had like a 2-hour opening in your day, and you're spending it with us. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's nonstop work, isn't it? Even in the summer.
Yeah, it truly is. We're taking summer classes, and there's some guys on the team that are not since they've graduated and whatnot. But it's a full schedule every day, and even if there isn't a set schedule of we got to lift or captain's practice or whatever it may be, there's still things that need to be done. As far as watching film, extra throwing, extra lifting, all these different. There's always something you can do and something you get better at, and that really just you'll blink your eyes and it'll be 9 o'clock at night and you're just getting done with things. And that's a good thing though. It's a good thing. I've always been heavily invested in sports, so my whole life has been super busy. That's what I'm used to and what I'm accustomed to. And when it's not busy, it's one of those things where I just sit there and just look from my left to right and what the heck am I doing? I feel like I'm not getting anything accomplished. I feel like I'm just being a bum. And when not necessarily that's the case, but it's just you're so used to that constant routine of doing something all the time. When you don't have something going on, it's kind of just twiddling your thumbs. And I'm a thinker. I tend to overthink things when I'm not busy. So I do my best to keep at it and keep myself occupied and focus on the things I need to work on.
You mentioned summer school. You came your spring semester of your senior year, which it's got to be weird.
Yeah.
But that puts you a semester ahead on the schedule.
Yep.
When do you get your undergraduate degree?
Yeah, so I walked in May, and I'm on pace to get it this summer.
So you finish up this summer,
yep.
And then you become a grad student.
Yes, and I have 2 years.
Before your junior season starts. That's pretty cool. So you're probably going to get a master's before you're done playing.
Yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan.
Incredible.
The plan is to get into a master's program or a double major or do something that's going to benefit me and life outside of football for sure. Right now I'm kind of have my heart set on coaching eventually.
Get that master's.
At the college level. So that's definitely going to benefit me, trying to get something along with student relations or communication, something like that. But also, kind of free up a little bit more space to pay attention and focus on football a little bit more. But it's going to be a very, very good tool to having that master's and having the time to do that.
You mentioned you're an overthinker. Did you overthink last season? It seemed like it got into your head a little bit, everything going on. Yeah.
And just, it was, a situation not to be, really to be spoken about, it wasn't the proper way to go about it. And Alex and I both were in a very, tough situation where, it caused a lot of, self-inflicting, questioning, issues, I think, between the both of us. But, I've always been the type of person and player where, I always try to control everything and get a vision of this is what I'm going to do, this is how I'm going to do it, and this is how I'm going to get there. And then I just go do it, and for my entire life, majority of the time, that's worked out for me. And last year was the first that didn't happen. And it was a tough stretch there for really the whole season, and even after the season as well. Just in the fact that I had all these pictures of myself winning the starting job fully, and being a redshirt sophomore and stepping into position and being successful. Right. With K-State's history at quarterback, that usually doesn't happen with a young quarterback, and I wanted to be the first to do that and accomplish all these things, go to a bowl game, all these different things. And whenever things started just spiraling down and not planning out that way, I was questioning a lot about myself, really, as a person and as a player, a leader. And I was fighting an injury as well that I suffered in August. Had we call it a sports hernia. It's not an actual hernia, but I had a bunch of micro tears in my groins and whatnot that I played through and eventually just made worse and led down to my adductors. And it would get to the point where after a game I would be able to roll out of bed, and I didn't feel even close to even 75-80% till Friday before a game, and then it's just all just set back again, and it's got worse and worse as the season went on. But I didn't want to sit out, and I didn't want to necessarily lose my spot
right.
by being injured. But it definitely had an effect on my play a little bit, because I just never felt 100% at all. And then later on versus TCU, got a concussion, and that was my first concussion I ever had. And that was a pretty dark experience as well, just being in a week absence of practice, class. Couldn't watch TV, look at my phone, couldn't do anything besides sit in a dark room all day and sleep. But I slept so much that we'd be at practice and I'd be sitting in a room just sitting there looking at the wall for 3.5 hours and with nothing to do. So obviously I'm sitting there just thinking about everything. And that was tough. That was really tough. And I'm not afraid to really share my personal experiences, good and bad, just in the fact that I would hope that my experiences will be able to help other people out there who may be experiencing something, obviously maybe not in the football aspect, but just in life in general. Of it's a true learning experience, and a time in my life that was pretty difficult, but as many people know, that I've experienced much worse in my life. So that kind of put things in perspective. But I'm very appreciative for that time that I had last season. And there was a lot of, I say all those things, but there was a lot of good things to take away from that as well. I got some good experience and got some, good competition with the Big 12. And, it's just the more reps and repetition and, mistakes and good, you learn so much. And I'm so thankful that I had that opportunity to do that last year and kind of walk away from last season with that fire in my stomach of, I don't want to ever experience this ever again, and go through this. But even after the season, we didn't make a bowl game, and I shouldered a lot of that, and there's a lot more that goes into the game and system than just myself. But being a quarterback, you're in control so
right.
much that whenever you win or lose, you majority of the time get more praise than you deserve, and when it goes bad, you're going to get it all too. So that was something that I just took in and felt like it fell on my shoulders, and that hurt me pretty badly as well. And it's kind of just off the field, just led me down just a dark path as well. I was just not myself, didn't feel like myself, and the person that and values that I have. I just got to where I didn't really care about much, and it just it was a good learning experience. Looking back at it now, I'm really thankful that I did go through all that, experiencing that darkness and adversity. And I know with everything, when I was a kid and lost my mother, and all in high school, where early on we had some really state championship expectations, and we couldn't just seal the deal. And I was just questioning, is this ever, is this going to happen? I'm doing everything I can do. Is this, why is this happening? But, God's always found a way to work things out for me and present them to me at the perfect timing. And that's just what I've been leaning on the most, of just relying on God's timing and not my own. And that's paid dividends in my life, truly.
You brought it up, and, for people who don't know, last season by far wasn't the most challenging thing you've gone through. What, you were 6 years old when your mother was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer, and she fought, but there wasn't much fight to be done. It was kind of over. How dark of a place was that for you and your father and your siblings?
Yeah. Well, I was 6 years old, and I remember, when I first heard the news from my dad. My dad was a principal at Palmyra High School, and I got home from school. I went to his office after school. I walked in there, and my sister was in there, and she was already crying. And my dad said he needed to talk to me, and he just said that my mom was very sick, and we're gonna have to do some stuff to get her taken care of, but she's gonna be okay. Like I hear sick, I'm like, oh, she's got a cough or the flu or something.
You're 6.
Yeah.
It's hard to conceptualize.
Yeah, she's gonna be good, and my family did a great job of holding themselves together, and just going about their business, and we're gonna go fight this thing, and have that mindset we're gonna win. And my mom truly displayed that from the very get-go, from what I remember, and that whole process of her treatments. My dad, they went to Minnesota, they went to all these different cancer treatment places to try to get the best treatment they possibly could for her. And like you just stated, that it was stage 4. Like, it was, when they caught it, it was pretty much a done deal, is what the doctors were saying. And a lot of the doctors were just saying, you should just be happy and just live it out, and whenever it's your time to go. And my mom, I think, truly was having me in the back of her mind, like, I'm not gonna go down without a fight,
right.
And she did. She went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and did treatment there. And for a while with my dad stayed down there with her while my older brother and sister took care of me, and we went down and visited her and all those different things. And it was, in the midst of how tough her life was going, like, anytime I was around her, it was all smiles. It was all smiles and happiness and loving me and caring for me and wanting to know how I'm doing, doing it, asking if there's anything she can do to help me out. And I remember those bits and pieces of those little moments of my time with her. And it's a couple, I want to say, she got diagnosed in like November and passed away later in May, so about 6 or 7 months. And it was a whole process of, she was losing her hair, and she just was losing weight. She just did not look good, and I knew something was going on, even at a 6-year-old kid. And she, I want to say it was later, early on in May, there was a recliner in my parents' bedroom that's where she was always stationed at, and hooked up to the oxygen tank. She could barely, open her eyes and talk. Like, I knew something was not right. And my dad one day, woke me up and told me to go say bye to my mom. We were going to go to your cousin's and whatnot. He knew what was going to take place that day, and I think he wanted he didn't want me to see that with my own eyes, at such a young age of my mother's last breath. But so I was over at my cousin's house, and whenever that happened, and my dad just left pretty quick. My aunt started crying, and later on they told me what had happened. And it was a pretty tough time for me and my dad and our whole family in general. Just my mom was a great person, great woman, and that's one of my favorite things to do, now, because I have trouble, like, I don't remember her voice. I don't remember like little things like that, and that really, really eats at me sometimes. But I'm so thankful that I have family and friends that were so close to her that I can lean on them to tell me stories about her, tell me how she talked, how she was, like, what was her favorite thing to do, all these kind of things. And that brings a smile to my face, and I'm very thankful for those types of people. But with my dad and I, we had so much family gathering around us, and people that flew in from all over the place to make sure we were okay and spend time with us during that time, that it, I didn't really even, have time to think about it. And
out of that, though, you and your dad became really close.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to get into. So after everybody, started leaving, and about a couple months passed, and it was just him and I sitting at the dinner table, and I do remember looking at him and like, you know, because I was a huge mama's boy. He was a principal. He was always gone during the week, always at meetings or supervising sporting events. So it was her and I all the time. Like that was my right hand man and my mom. And so whenever she was gone, I was just like, wow, like who's gonna cook me dinner? Who's gonna tuck me? Like who's gonna do all these things for me? And even my dad, I think, kind of was like, holy cow, like I gotta do all this now. Yeah, along with my job and everything. And it was an eye-opening experience for the both of us. But that was also the very start to a special relationship with my dad that, you know, I think anybody who's really close to the both of us really, you know how close we are and understand that. And, you know, I'm very thankful that I had a father like that really embraced the opportunity of raising me and surrounding me with people that could help him out, because he knew he couldn't do it alone. And we had a bunch of, you know, family that still came along, and my Uncle Blair, my dad's brother, always would be down there every weekend to help my dad out and do the things he could. My Aunt Hannah, there was tons of people that helped, and you know, that led on to my dad remarrying my stepmom Kathy, who's now in my life. And you know, that was also a period of where I was just like, okay, do I call her mom? Do I do this? Like, it was tough too, and tough for her as well. You know, I sit here and say it was tough on me, but like, you put yourself in her shoes of stepping into a man's life who lost his wife and a little 6-year-old boy who lost his mom. Like, that's pretty tough for her too. And I don't think a lot of people in this world would be so, you know, passionate and driven to seek that opportunity to do that like she did. And she did absolutely amazing. She loved me like, you know, to the best of her ability, you know, not overstepping boundaries. And, you know, I think that was really a hard thing for her to do, is how do I do this without overstepping and, you know, doing too much. But, you know, our relationship just grew over and over the years, and she always just did the absolute most to make me happy and be there for me whenever I needed someone to talk to. And she's still that way. You know, she's a really special woman in my life now, and we're so close, and I couldn't imagine really life without her. But just like what I've, you know, said over the past, you know, conversation, that there's so much to be learned through adversity and dark times, and so many blessings and stuff that take away and are granted from having something being taken away from you. And sometimes it takes patience, takes time to see that happen and to experience that. And, you know, there are times where you're sitting there like, you know, why did this happen to me? You know, why did you take my mom? Why did you do this? Why did you take this person from, like, why did all these, you know, things feel like everything's coming against me right now? You know, and that's a tough situation to be in. And unfortunately, you know, I've been in that situation quite a bit in my life. But you know, it's led me to a great place now, where I cherish, you know, the very little things that I have in my life, and the people that I have that love me and take the time out of their day to care for me every single day. And whenever, you know, I feel like I'm kind of getting off track and maybe taking those things for granted, it just takes a quick second to think back to those times in my life, and it puts me right back into perspective and right back on path where I need to be. So, yeah, like I said, I'm really thankful for that too.
Life moves on, and you got to go with it. Too many people end up dwelling in the darkness, and I understand that. You know, as a depression sufferer, I can understand how people get lost in the darkness, but you just got to keep waking up each day and moving forward. And life did settle into a rhythm for you and your dad, and you end up at Fort Osage High School in Independence, Missouri. You mentioned those early teams where you had some talent, but it didn't quite come together. Well, you visualized a championship. I don't know if you got a ring. Your senior year, and by God, that's what happened. How magical was that senior season of football?
Well, man, I'll tell you, that was one of the best years of my life, or a 6-month stretch that I've ever had. 'Cause it was so much that went behind the scenes, and work and sacrifice that went into that season that very little people knew about, or, you know, still know about. But like, ever since that, I knew what football was. So I started playing football in 5th grade in a Pop Warner League, with all a bunch of kids that I went to high school with, but at the time we were all from the same school. It wasn't a handpicked team. Like, we were all from Independence, Missouri or Buckner, Missouri. Like, we were all right there. And we started playing in 5th grade, and from that 5th grade team, my senior year, we had 17 guys from that 5th grade Pop Warner team that were seniors on that football team.
That's incredible.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, the amount of conversations we had from 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade of like, we're going to win a state championship together someday. Like, that is our ultimate goal. And we were in a fortunate situation, a football program with Coach Starch, that he was establishing such a rich football foundation at Fort Osage, and we had people to look up to of, E.J. Gaines, who plays in the NFL now for the Buffalo Bills, Edward Pearl, like Dalton Chrysler. There was so many like guys that we were looking up to that, they would get to that state championship game and they just couldn't get over the hump and win it. But like, we were all around and fans, like, so we got to experience that kind of experience and mojo that those guys had. And that just motivated us even more. Like, we want to be the first to go do this, and we can. And, so we got into high school. I kind of played a little bit as a freshman, just to get my feet wet, which, was a good thing. I was very fortunate to have that opportunity, and then was able to step in and start as a redshirt sophomore, or not redshirt, I don't know why I'm saying that in college, but a sophomore. That was, a lot of an experience like I had last year, where I was young. I had a really good football team around me. We had a really good run game, a really good defense, and it just kind of, I was young. Like, I was able to I had so many good surrounding pieces in me that I was no pressure on me.
Right.
Like, I have to go out there and throw 4 touchdowns or do this to win. Like, I just got to play my game and control the game, and we can win. And we were undefeated, and got into playoffs, and the quarterfinals to go to state. We lost to Kearney we were like down 13-6, got the ball. We had the ball in our hand with 2 minutes left, had to drive 80 yards, and we were just moving it. I was like 7 for 8, I think, on my completions. We were just clicking, and hit one of my receivers across the middle, and he got tackled, and he fumbled, and they recovered. I'll still argue that he was down. But that was a heartbreaking loss. And it was just another situation, like, after the game, I was just like, I did everything I could. Like, I controlled the things I could. I put ourselves in a position to win, and it didn't work out.
After we're done here, do you want to drive to Kearney and trash the place with me?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I still stay in contact with some of those, Kearney guys, and they always give me a hard time about it. And whatnot. It's pretty fun. We can joke about it now, but at the time it was not a joke. But yeah, so that was, after that season, I was just like, man, I thought we were going to do it this year, but maybe next year, so I just went to work and, tried to focus on the things I could and get better. And junior year, same thing. We were undefeated, going into that same quarterfinals game, playing against Park Hill, and literally the same situation. We had the ball, like, on our 30-yard line, had to go 70 yards. And we were down by, I think, 2 points. So we needed a field goal or to score a touchdown. And in my mind, I was scoring a touchdown. That's what I wanted to do. And we were just clicking once again. I was throwing the ball over the place, putting it where I wanted to. We were moving the ball. We got down to, I want to say, probably around their 10-yard line. And it was like 4th and 3, and our coach decided to kick a field goal. And I was the holder at the time. And ball got snapped to me, put it down, and our kicker kicked it pretty far left, and we missed, and we lost the game that way. So it was another just like, and I played one of my best games in my entire career that game.
It doesn't matter, does it?
Had 2 incompletions and threw for almost 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, it was one of my best games, and we lost. And another situation where it was, I mean, that one stung a lot worse just because it was like, not again. Like, same game, same situation. I did everything I could, and we just fell short again. And but it was, I had a really long conversation with my dad and my siblings that night after the game. where I was just like, well, why is this happening? Like, I'm doing everything I can. Why is this not happening? And they just kept telling me that, it's just not the right time. It's just, you gotta trust God's timing for you, and just control the things you can control, and it'll all work out. And so, there was also a lot of recruiting pressure that junior year. I was trying to get offers, play well. So I knew, like, if I won a state championship, like, they would put me on the radar pretty well. So anyways, I went on and started getting offers that off season. And one of my biggest, things that I went by was, before I wanted to be committed before my senior year. Sure. Because I was like, I'm not having this distraction. Like, I'm going to win a state championship. And so I was pretty quick at it whenever I found a school that I was in love with to commit to. And there was a lot of games just being played with me, with people recruiting me. They saying I was too small and from Missouri, all these different things. Wanted to wait till my senior season to kind of evaluate me some more. And so I was just like, obviously they're not that interested. And because I did have some schools that were like, we're going to offer you, and K-State was one of them. So I visited out here quite a bit, and just, I love the family atmosphere, and it felt like a good fit from the very get-go. So I just didn't hesitate and committed and got that off the board, and then went into the senior season. And we were ranked first in the state going into the year. We had, I think, 31 seniors on our football team. On both sides of the ball, we were starting pretty much seniors across the board. Like I said, most of which I played with in 5th grade. And it was so cool, because like I said, there would be nights in the summer where I would be sitting there with some of my receivers around the pool or at my house, and we were sitting there like we're gonna go win state this year. Like, this is how we're gonna do it, and we're all in together, and it's our time to go do it. Like, it's worked out. Like, what a better way to go out senior year and win a state championship together. So we went on, and I think started the season 9-0, and then our last conference game, senior night, we lost to Liberty North. It was a 1-score game too, and we just came up short on a 4th down play. And that was a brutal loss, just because it was senior night. It's like, we've worked so hard together throughout our whole lives, and this is like, we're gonna go out with a win on our last home game, and we lost. And it was almost like, it was kind of like, to me, I remember sitting in the locker room, like, I separated myself from everyone and sat there and was really upset. But I also sat there and was like, maybe this is really gonna help us, because in years past we hadn't had a loss in the regular season. We didn't know what it felt like to lose. And so I seek that as like, maybe this is a wake-up call for all of us, and our coaches and our players. Everybody did, because we were ranked number 1 in the state. Everybody was saying, you guys are gonna win state this year. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. And we lost. And that just opened our eyes that we're not invincible. We can be beat. And that, I'm telling you, that was a turning point of our season. We went into the playoffs, the next week, and it was just, we were a whole new football team. Like, we were clicking on all cylinders, defense, offense, special teams, every aspect, playing our best football at the most perfect time of the year. And it was no more regular season, so my head coach was not afraid to run me and get me hurt. So I was kind of turned loose a little bit more in the playoffs, and we had just a lot of success. And we got in the same quarterfinals game versus playing Park Hill, same team we lost to a year before on that field goal. And I remember, I think my senior year, that Park Hill, they were more talented than the year before. So I knew it was going to be a dogfight again, but I remember watching film that whole week and guys on our team, and we were all just like, we're not going to let this one get away from us. And I remember walking down in my basement, Thursday night, we always had like a ritual thing where we always went out to eat. All my teammates did, and we would eat and just talk about what we're going to go do tomorrow. And then, so after that happened, I went home Thursday night. My dad was downstairs and was sitting there, and that's always our time of the week to talk about, what's going to happen tomorrow. Mm-hmm. What my dad wants to know, what's the game plan? What are you guys going to do? How are they looking? How are we looking? And I remember just sitting there, and my dad knew, like, Park Hill, they were ranked number 1 in the state because we had just lost to Liberty North. So he knew they were really good and talented. They had multiple D1 guys on their team, and I sat there and was like, Dad, we are gonna win tomorrow, and not just win. We are gonna win by a lot. I truly believe that. And we went out there and won 47-13, and it was probably one of the best games of my life that I played. And after that happened, we played Columbia Battle to go to state, and it was the same situation. Went on the road, and they were probably a far more talented team than we were, but it was just like we had the mindset at that point in time. It was like, we're not going to be stopped. We're not losing. We went out there and won, I think, 42-12 or 16, something like that. And once again, I played one of my best games. And then we got to state championship, playing Chaminade out of St. Louis, playing in the Edwards Jones Dome, which was the Ram Stadium, which was really cool. And it was another time where we were watching film, and these guys are really talented, probably better than us, more athletic than us, faster than us, all these different things. But there's one thing that we had that they didn't, and it was the brotherhood and camaraderie that we have had, just because we were so together and on the same page that I was like, I'm not worried about it. We just got to go play our game and play together, and we'll win. And started off the game, we went 3 and out, got stuffed in the backfield just 3 times, doing incompletion, and they scored on their second play on a slant and took it to the house. And I was like, oh crap, these guys are gonna be really good. We're gonna have to be ready to play. And next possession, we just went and scored. I don't think we got stopped the rest of the game. We won 62 to, I think, 14, 17, put 62 points up in the state championship. And that was a defining moment of just so much sacrifice and hard work and talk. I remember whenever the clock hit 0, hugging one of my best friends, Dante Dotson, who I literally remember sitting in my room whenever I was in 5th grade saying that we were going to do this. And all of it, you could just sense we have talked about this our whole life, and we did it. And I played the best game of my life. I set 3 or 4 state records. Our team set some state records. And I remember, after the fact, we shook hands with the Chaminade, and after we got done, my dad was a principal, so he had the access to be on the field. And I looked behind me, and my dad was just walking to me in midfield, and was able to give him a hug. And obviously, it was really emotional for the both of us, because we just, this is what we've worked for. My dad drove me all across the country to get me in the best positions, to surround me with coaches and camps and all these different things that he put into it and I put into it together to experience a moment like this. And it happened. It was pretty special. It was pretty special. And I remember in that hug, he smiled at me and told me that my mom would be really, really proud of me. And it was one of the handful of moments I've ever seen my dad tear up. But it was truly special. And like I said, it was 6 months of some of the best times in my life. And what's crazy is that happened, and then 3 weeks later I was at K-State.
It was incredible.
And went from being top of the totem pole to literally the bottom in a matter of 3 weeks. So that was a huge change in my life. But it was very, very special, and a time that I'll never forget.
Well, that takes us up to his arrival at Kansas State. And when we come back after this little pause, it's part 2 of the Power Chat with Skylar Thompson. The Power Chat with quarterback Skylar Thompson of the Kansas State Wildcats continues now from our studios. And we got you through your senior year, but I want to back up a little bit to the recruiting process, because the first offer you received was North Dakota State, or one of the first?
Second.
Who was the first?
KU.
Yeah, that's the first real offer you got. But it's amazing. I mean, I get the feeling you really like that program.
Yeah.
I mean, you like the system. You were comfortable with the coaches. But when you got a Big 12 offer from Kansas State, a school which we didn't get into, but you have family connections. That it was kind of over at that point. But how did North Dakota State strike you in the recruiting process?
My recruiting process was kind of slow to start with. And my dream was I'm gonna play at a Power 5 Division I, school. So KU offered me first, and then, next North Dakota State offered me an FCS school, and I'm not gonna lie, my initial thought was like, I'm better than FCS. I can play at a Power 5 school. I know I can, and at a good Power 5, and but I also, I was very fortunate that I had mentors like my dad and my head football coach Ryan Schartz, who were like, this North Dakota State program. I mean, you got Carson Wentz. I mean, they national championships. Like, this team and program is special, and they beat K-State, they beat Iowa State, they beat all these. They are a really good football program. That's something you should look into, and I did. And at the time, there was like a 2-month stretch where I had KU, North Dakota State, and Illinois State. Those were my 3 offers, and I remember telling my dad, I was like, if I don't get any other offers, I'm going to North Dakota State. Like, this is where I want to go. I think I'd be a good fit there. And Coach Riley, who's our offensive line coach right now, was who recruited me, and Coach Klieman was who called me and offered me. So that was pretty cool. And then 3 or 4 months later, I started blowing up and getting quite a bit of Power 5 offers. So I didn't really have to say much. They kind of knew I was going in a different direction. But whenever this coaching search was going on here at K-State, whenever early December, late November, we were seeing all these different names pop up, all these different guys from all over the place, and Coach Klieman was one of them. And I was just like how crazy would that be if he was our next coach? And I was honestly like, I'm pulling for this guy, because he offered me, like, he would know who I am, he would know the type of player I am, where I come from, and I think that would really help me and benefit me is in the transition with a new coach. And sure enough, that's exactly how it played out. His opening press conference, all the players went up to him and introduced themselves and whatnot. And I was one of the last guys. And as I was going to shake his hand, before I even said my name, he was like, "Oh, I know who you are." He's like, "Why did you come to North Dakota State when I offered you?" He's like, "I'm still upset about that," like joking around. But it was like, in that moment, he also was like, "You're from Fort Osage. Like, I know your football background. I know your background, the person you are, the character you have." And like, I was just like, holy cow, like, I haven't talked to this guy in 4 years, and he remembers that. Like, he remembers where I'm from, he remembers recruiting me, he remembers offering me, he remembers all these different things. And I was just like, that's pretty cool. It's pretty special that he remembers that, and kind of just shows the type of person and detail-oriented guy he is. So that was a really, really cool process, that it kind of all played in favor, that we've crossed paths down the road. And I'm thankful that it all played out the way that it did. And I think we have the best fit for K-State with Coach Klieman. And whenever he first got hired, all of us players we're on Twitter. We just see what people say and all, opinions and all that kind of stuff. Granted, I've gotten away from it, trying to, as I've gotten some experience, trying to stay away from Twitter. But at the time, I was on there and saw it, and I was just like, we don't even, people are saying this and that about this guy, and he hasn't even coached one down here.
Yeah. Like,
just give him a chance. And so that's why I got on Twitter and got on board and let everybody know that I'm in this thing. I'm on board. I'm jumping in the boat with this guy. And I think that kind of had a ripple effect throughout our fan base a little bit, kind of seeing the players jump in with Coach Klieman, to where it was like, you asked Gene Taylor about it. He talks about his emails that he got like right when he first hired him to like 4 days later. They're like, "This is the best hire ever." All these different things. Like, it just goes to show how much Twitter is just, it's crazy how it can work. But it was truly special from that first day that he spoke to us in our team theater and addressed his values that he's going to carry for our football team and what he expects out of us and the standard that he's going to hold us to. and we were all on board. Like I remember walking out of there, calling my dad, and I was like, Dad, like we got the best coach we possibly could have gotten out of the situation. Like this is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to play in my favor so well with Coach Messingham and having this offensive scheme that Carson Wentz and Easton's played in, and all the success that previous quarterbacks have had in this system. Like, and I truly feel like I fit really well.
Yeah.
In it, and my dad was on the same page, and he said, now it's time to just go to work and let's get after it. So that's the mindset we've had, and it's been awesome. It's been truly the transition. I don't think it's could have gone any smoother than what it did for him and for us. I mean, he jumped right in, and we just picked up right where we left off. And the culture at K-State that's what it got brought up to me immediately. What I thought was really, really intriguing and eye-opening was that when Coach Snyder retired, it wasn't like the culture or our team or program was broken. Like we have great character guys and great people in our program that Coach Klieman could just walk in there, and this is I'm going to keep holding you to this standard, and we're going to have little adjustments here and there, but I'm still going to expect you to be great men and respect people and do the right thing and be on time. And that wasn't really a hard adjustment for us because that's what we were used to with Coach Snyder. So that it was truly special, and it's been awesome to get to know Coach Klieman even more over the past couple months.
Yeah, it strikes me, and I talked to Coach Klieman about this, that everyone wants to talk about the differences, and certainly the social media, the openness is very different. But there's so many similarities, really, in how they want to construct a program and team, and it's about family and character and hard work. Some of those things run through all football programs, but sometimes he'll say stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of just right out of a Snyder-ism right there.
Yeah.
And there's so many blessings in his hiring from his standpoint and from your standpoint. You as a team leader had an established comfort level with him, with the system, and you were able to help your teammates buy in. And he walked in and goes, I know who my quarterback is. Yeah. I don't have to teach him anything because the systems are different, but there's some real similarities here. It's traditional football. We're going to line up. We're going to be tough. We're going to run the ball.
Yeah.
We're going to throw the ball, but it's not a spread. It's not finesse.
Yeah.
It's football.
Yeah.
So it's got to be real comfort level for you.
Yeah, for sure. That's truly the perfect way to put it. It's traditional football, and I think that's going to be really good for us in the Big 12 and being a little bit different than other schools and other teams, and that's been helping. That's helped my transition a lot with learning a new offense and new schemes and jumping into a new system. As far as I've had experience, for a couple of years, to where, it's, Coach Klieman always says it, like, football is football, and it truly is. Like, this stuff is called different, and that was the kind of the hardest transition for me, was adjusting my brain and to not rely on old thoughts and old terms, because that's so easy to do, and I still catch myself doing it sometimes. But it's truly helped me just pick up on our offense really quickly. And I'm not saying it was perfect, because our first couple practices, we had quite a bit of bumps in the roads and learning experiences. But as we moved through spring ball, I felt like every day, like I was just getting better and better and better, and things were slowing down. I was able to anticipate throws. I was able to, help the receivers. Like, they have a question, I'm confident that I know what I'm talking about. I can help you out. And then digesting, defenses, because the first, half of spring ball, it was just like, I'm so focused on what I'm doing and what our play is that I'm not even looking at what the defense is doing. And like I said, the game would start slowing down, and I was able to get to that level 2, level 3 stuff of just, what's the defense doing? How are we going to attack it? And then knowing, with our scheme, how our scheme aligns with what the defense is giving us and how we're going to attack it. So that was that was truly, a blessing, having, similar styles of play come into it, and having a new system and whatnot. And I know that Coach Klieman was really thankful for that as well, that I was familiar with that style of play. And I think you look at any championship level football team, they are really good at running the football and they play good defense. And as much as I want to throw the ball 40 to 50 times a game, like I know we gotta be a really good run game football team to win the big games. And so that's what I'm gonna be, whatever I'm called to do. If I am called to throw the ball 30 to more times a game, then I'm gonna be happy to do so. But if I gotta hand it off a lot or run the ball myself, then I'm gonna do whatever I can to help the team win. And I think that's the mentality that our whole football team has.
We spoke about the struggles of your sophomore season. This is almost like someone hit a reset button on your college football experience.
Yeah.
You didn't have to transfer. You didn't have to start over somewhere else. You get to stay with the things that you're comfortable with and get a new beginning. And you seem so much more relaxed. The guys that went to Big 12 Media Days said this was a different Skylar Thompson.
Yeah.
Do you feel like a lot of it's odd to me because he's given you this program.
Yeah.
Coach Klieman's talked about that.
Yeah.
What do you want to do in summer? How do you want to do 7-7? What do you want to do? What you figure it out?
Yeah.
It's your program. You take care of this. That's pressure. And yet Skylar Thompson's very relaxed. It seems like this has really been good for you.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing, honestly. And like I said, where I was sitting, the chair I was sitting in late November, December last year, and where I'm sitting now, it's like I don't even know who I was. Like I don't recognize the person or the way I was feeling, honestly. But it's like it's truly just given me new life and has given me just to take a deep breath and let it all out. And this is I'm right where I've been called to be. And there were times last year where I was questioning whether, like, why did I come to K-State? Why here? I had other offers. Why was I brought here to experience this and go through this? But like, it's been more relevant to me now than ever that this is where I've been called to be. And everything that has transpired the past couple of years, I've had some great moments here and I've had some really dark moments here, but all that has came together, and it's helped me just to grow so much and kind of strive towards the person that I always want to be on and off the field. And granted, I'm not going to be perfect and all that, but I'm gonna fall short sometimes. But having that foundation of knowing what I've done good at and where I've had slipped up and done things wrong, like having that foundation of knowing what that felt like in that moment, like is truly just lifted my spirits as far as going into the season. And I've had a lot of other different milestones that I've kind of done the past couple months. Like I gave my life to Christ back in April with Coach Klein, by my side, and kind of helped me in my journey to follow God and more consistently and in a more grounded fashion, I would say, in a consistent way. And I got baptized a couple weeks ago. Like that also has been an aspect of my life that I really wasn't consistent with or really even knew earlier on in my life, or last year, like until really the past couple months, that it's been more aware to me that all the things that I always try to control and envision and all that stuff, like that was all out of my control, and it's always been in God's hands. He's always been working in my life, and I just reflect and look at back of like how I felt whenever my mom passed away, and how I felt during football senior year, how I felt in other times in my life, and like, when has God never taken care of me? He's always taken care of me. Like he's put my stepmother in my life. He's given me a little brother. I did win a state championship. I did get a scholarship to go play Division I football. Like in times where it felt like there was nothing coming my way and I couldn't get out of the hole I was in, like he's always taken care of me. And And that has truly just given me so much, peace and confidence in myself. And, it just, there's so many times in life where you're going to get, you're going to get off path. Like, it's destined to happen. Like, you're going to slip up, make mistakes. You're going to fail. You're going to face adversity. Like, all of that is part of life. But it's also, one of my favorite sayings is that, God tests his toughest soldiers, and he wouldn't put you through anything you can't handle. And, I know I'm one of his toughest soldiers from what I've been through and what I continue to go through sometimes, but it's like, I know it's far out of my control. Like, all I can do is focus on my daily approach to my life and the people around me, and just trying to get better every single day. And I know God will take care of the rest, and having that internal peace and trust in the Lord in that way, I think, has been the ultimate game changer to my life in general, not just football. But it had me so excited for this season because, I think for the first time, I've always played for, not just, I've always played for, my mother and my grandpa, and I've always had that thought and their thoughts in my head when I get on the field and play. But, realizing that the game is far bigger than me, and this is just a truly like a blessing that I've been given, and a talent that the Lord has blessed me with to impact others and just go have fun. And that has truly just given me so much confidence, and it's truly changed my life, honestly. And I think, as I kind of stated in media day, it's just like, I think anybody who's close to me and communicates with me on a daily basis and has conversations with me, I think has truly seen, not necessarily a change in me, because I feel like I've always been a respectful, right, humble person, but just the spirit and the smile I have on my face, and it's just this is who I am. The type of approach, like, this is who I am. This is who I'm gonna be, who I strive to be, the leader I'm gonna be, the player I'm gonna be, and I'm so happy and content with who I am, and trust in that. And I know there's so much room for growth as well. So that truly inspires me just to get better and not rely on my own wants and needs anymore.
As I go through my own struggles with, in my case with cancer also, that you don't always understand the journey. You don't understand why you're being put on this path. You just got to trust it.
Yeah.
And then one day you realize, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm supposed to be doing this now and taking care of these things. And it all kind of fits together if you just trust. And keep it going.
Yeah. Which is hard to do.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. That's the biggest challenge. Yeah. But you were given a gift, and his name is Klein. Yeah. Both as a coach and as apparently a spiritual leader.
100%.
What's it like being coached by him?
Yeah. Well, I'll truly, I think, that was one of the biggest reasons why I even came to K-State. I was in contact with him quite a bit on my visits when he was a GA at the time, and I would ask him, obviously aware of who he was and what he had done here, and why should I choose K-State? And he would not talk once about football. Like, it was all about how much he grew as a person here, how much the city means to him in town, and the fan base and the atmosphere, and
it's interesting.
Everything in general. Like, it was not one thing about football, and truly that is carried over to my time here with him as a coach. Like,
or he didn't want to tell you to be a battering ram. Yeah. Used as a fullback, as a quarterback.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get into that.
Yeah. But he, like, as a coach, like, he wants me to be successful as a player probably more than I do, and he pushes me so hard, and whatnot. But he cares more for me outside of football than he does anything, and he wants me to be happy and grow, and he's always been there for me. Him and his wife Shaylin has been truly amazing too. Amazing person, and they both have been there for me when in times I've needed them the most, and just supporting me and whatnot. And he truly, like, whenever I came to find Christ, like, it was, I had people in my life telling me to, you should go talk to Colin, and take that step and whatnot. And I knew, like, throughout my journey, it was always tough. You know, I kind of what I have gone through and experienced in my sophomore year, like it was tough, and I was honestly just scared to kind of seek that relationship with God. But there came a day where there was something inside of me that was just burning and telling me, like, it's time to take a step and go do this and not be scared and not turn back from it. And there was no question who I was going to go talk to. Like, I knew I'm going to go talk to Coach Klein. I'm going to literally lay everything out on the line, tell him exactly how what I was going through last year, and what I've been fighting, and this is the step I want to take. And can you help me? Can you show me the way? And, like, I'm fully bought in to this. Can you help me? Mm-hmm. And we sat there and talked for probably 2 hours, and, like, he was just like, he was so happy for me and happy that I came to him to talk to him, and I felt comfortable enough to literally tell him so many things about me that probably not very many people know about, and how I was feeling and whatnot. But he truly just he kicked me off on the right path and showed me a way, and I went with it. And it just truly shows that the type of person he is, and the type of person his wife is, and his family, and how they've accepted me and for who I am, and truly love me. And, you know, he's the same way with all the quarterbacks. Like, he will do anything for every single one of us. You gotta, you know, what I learn and try to encourage other guys is, like, just go talk to them. Like, don't be intimidated to go talk to them. Like, if you're going through something, if you need help, like, I'm telling you, he's one of the best people in this world you could talk to. And you know, I was, even as a young player especially, like, you're intimidated, like, to go talk. I feel like to your coach, you know, I don't want him to judge me. I don't want him to think this. But I was just like, I have nothing to hold back. Like, this is who I am, coach, and who I want to be. And I just need some help. And he gave it to me. And it truly was a point in time as well where I was just like, this is why God brought me to K-State. Like, this is why I came here, truly. And to have a coach like him, and a mentor, and a person to look up to every single day, like, I couldn't ask for a better role model and person to try to symbolize every single day. And what's so cool is with what Coach Klein has accomplished and what he's done, like, he pushes me, and he wants me to achieve more.
Right.
And the times that I may be setting limitations on myself, not even realizing it, like, he is pushing me to the maximum ability he can every single day. And even at times where it's like, coach, like, you know, I'm putting the ball right here, but the ball should have been here, and he's getting on to me for it. But we still caught it and got a first down. Mm-hmm. But just, like, little things like that, I'm like, coach, come on. Like, we completed it, we got a first down. It's okay. And he's coaching me on, like, littlest detail things like that. And, you know, it taking a step back, it's like, it makes me really appreciate the type of coach he is, because he truly cares, and he wants me to be great. You know, and I think that's a true definition of a coach, is getting things out of their players that, you know, and getting them past their own, you know, limitations that they set on themselves, and achieving their maximum potential. And I think that is the true definition of Coach Klein. I'm so thankful to have him as a coach.
Well, people tuned in to get your hot takes on the 2019 football team, they'll have to find them somewhere else, because we're going to shift gears into what we call the overtime. Okay. And this is a tradition that was started on our podcast, and people started asking us wacky questions or off-the-cuff questions, and we decided to start answering them. In fact, this fall we're going to be doing a whole show of overtime questions, because people love it so much. So these are from a longtime GPC subscriber, Wagcat. He lives in Austin, Texas nowadays, but K-Stater. What's harder or easier, this system or the Snyder system? Harder and easier?
This one's harder.
More pre-snap reads?
I wouldn't say necessarily the
post-snap.
There's just a lot of pre-snap stuff going on.
A lot of movement in there. A lot of motion.
Yeah, there's movements and stuff. Different personnels that are a little bit different, and then just there's just a lot of thinking because it's new. You know, I think that's what makes it a little harder. But I think as I get into it more, through fall camp, I think it'll be easier, honestly. There's a lot on the quarterback's plate, but it also helps the game go for the whole offense, and it's going to help the game for me and slow the game down for me by putting that stuff on my plate. And like I said, with my experience that I've had in the past couple of years, like, it's going to rely me to, I'm going to be comfortable in doing it. It's not going to be totally just like overwhelming me, because they put stuff on my plate last year that was a lot too. So it's just going to be the process of just continue to get reps and to understand the language, and where it just comes second nature, where I don't have to think about it. And I think that'll honestly just lead to it being easier than the last system.
Okay.
So.
Item 2, Chris Dawson as your strength coach. Did much change from Chris Dawson under Bill Snyder to Chris Dawson under Coach Klieman?
Little tad bits, and that's just like with like the running after practice and running here and there, just a little small adjustment that Coach Klieman wants to do. But as far as the workouts and stuff, it hasn't changed. It's still the K-State. We're grinding all the time, and I truly, when I first got here, I thought Coach Dawson, honestly, and the coaching, the strength staff, I was just like, these guys are nuts. Like, they're just yelling at me all the time. Even when I feel like I'm doing things right, I'm getting yelled at. And but as I've grown through this program and gotten experience and kind of matured a little bit more, I've grown so much appreciation for those guys, because they truly they care for us and want us to be better, every single day. And that hasn't changed with Coach Dawson. He's a great mentor, great leader for our football program. And like you said earlier in this conversation, with how much time we spent with him in the summer, like he's our head coach in the summer. Honestly, like that's who he is. And he's a great guy and truly cares about us, and he's a big part of our success.
Okay, item 3. This is going to be a quick one for you, because I really don't want you to expand on this, because I could get you into hot water if you go too far. You grew up in the metro area, Kansas City and Independence. Who's more annoying, KU or Missouri fans?
I'd probably say KU fans.
Okay, yep, I'm with you. Do you play football video games, and are they helpful for a quarterback in any way?
Yeah, they're helpful for me. I can score a lot of points, but I can't play defense at all.
So you understand that now.
That's generally the bind I get into, is I can score, but I can't stop anybody. And if I get stopped once, then I don't know if I'm going to win, because I struggle on defense. But it's honestly kind of crazy how realistic the game is now. Like,
it is.
All of the schemes and stuff that are ran, like, it is like true real life, and even the coverages that people are running, and how they're setting their pre-snap alignments and stuff. Like, people hate playing me, honestly, because I will sit there and like, oh, you're in cover 4, you're playing cover 2, or you're blitzing here. Like, I already know what you're doing. They're like, how do you know that? Especially my little brother. My little brother's 12, and he hates playing me. But it's fun for me.
Nice.
But until I'm losing, then I'm not having fun. But
okay, you got a day off in Manhattan, Kansas. Where do you go to eat?
Probably Taco Lucha.
Yeah.
That's my.
What's your go-to?
I get the Japaraz tacos on the secret menu. I don't know if I was supposed to say that on the secret menu, but
it's funny. You go in there, sometimes they'll give you the secret menu, and other times they go, we can't do that.
Yeah. And then the peanut butter tacos, I tried those for the first time a couple weeks ago.
You like them?
You can't have too many of them. I think having like one of them was good for me. They're pretty rich and kind of different, but I just like the vibe and atmosphere of Taco Lucha. It's pretty neat.
It's really cool. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you spending some time in your busy summer with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, that's the Power Chat with Skylar Thompson. We'll be back real soon with another edition of the GoPowerCat.com Power Chat.